One of the things you may not be aware of is that I have the pleasure of hosting a food show as well, and one of the big trends in food at the moment in fine dining restaurants is adding foraged food to the plate. That is foods that, well, grow wild, that grow naturally in places like our gardens. In fact, there are many plants that grow in our gardens that we consider weeds that are absolutely delish and end up costing a fair bit if they're put on the dinner plate in a fine dining restaurant. A good example is a common weed called Portulaca, which grows in the summer months in Australia. It's actually edible, and it's one of the highest sources of omega-3 fatty acids on the planet. I know people who've spent the day pulling it out complaining about sore joints afterwards, when if they'd just eaten it, they'd be feeling pretty good. Spring is a brilliant time of the year to be out foraging because there are so many plants that are growing on the side of the road, just like this on my verge, that are edible. Now, all three here are beautiful Australian wildflowers. This is the paper daisy or everlasting. And these yellow ones, well, they are not a native of Australia. They're a native of South Africa, of the Cape region. This is known as wood sorrel or soursop. And as a kid, I used to love chewing on it, but it's so sour. Oh. It's one of those weeds that's actually great added to a salad. The flowers, the flower stems, and even the leaves are edible. The leaves and the flowers have a sour lemony flavour because they're rich in a natural plant compound called oxalic acid, which binds with minerals in the gut and expels them before they can be absorbed. Another common weed this time of the year is something called Mellow. It pops up everywhere at the beginning of winter, and by mid-spring, it's flowering and dropping seed. Again, it's a very useful plant. The leaves, the stems, and even the roots are edible. So the leaves can be used just like spinach in a salad, and they're rich in iron. The stems and the roots, well, they're used as a thickener for soups. And the little flowers, which will start arriving on this plant pretty soon, can be thrown into salads. Now, they're not very tasty, but they are full of goodness. I had the opportunity to travel to Newcastle in Northern Ireland a few years back and was taken foraging by one of the Emerald Isle's most accomplished chefs, Paul Cunningham from Brunel's. Paul was recognised as Ireland's best chef more than once, and he took me foraging in the nearby Mourne Mountains forest. And one of the weeds we foraged was one that I'd fed to the compost heap and the chickens too many times. It's commonly known as chickweed. And if you're wondering what it tastes like, it tastes a little bit grassy. It's sweet, and some people describe it as sweet like corn silk. The best thing about it is it's a very rich source of vitamin C and antioxidants, and it's got some medicinal benefits as well. It helps with respiratory tract infections and also congestion. Well, there's 4 weeds that are good for you. And the funny thing is that now that you know that they're not weeds and you're going to be putting them into dishes, they're going to be rare to find in your garden. So you might want to go foraging somewhere else.